The Nintendo 64 was the console that first got me thoroughly hooked on video games, and the rest was history from there. While I feel like I was into a pretty impressive range of genres back then, even for a 5-year-old, the platformer quickly became my thing. Of course, this meant that my favorite games at the time were things like Super Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, and even the unsung and criminally underrated wacky titles like Glover. If I can hop around from point A to point B, fight some cool enemies, and collect some things along the way, I've pretty much always been in. That extends to this day. When a great new platformer is released, I'm champing at the bit to go hands-on with it. 2017's Yooka-Laylee, the spiritual successor to Rare's Banjo-Kazooie, seemed primed to be one of my next obsessions. Then it released, and it was fine. I'll still contend to this day that it was better than many thought, but I can also admit it was closer to average than a classic, too. All of this is why I was so curious to demo Yooka-Laylee in Las Vegas back in April, to see if this ground-up remake could finally bring justice to the IP. My initial impressions were positive, but I still hadn't seen enough to truly be all in. Fool me once and all that. Friends, now with Yooka-Laylee's full release here, I am genuinely so thrilled to tell you that I think the game is amazing. Not only has it improved on the 2017 title, but it's also one of the best collect-a-thon games I've ever played. Let me tell you all about it.
New and improved in every possible regard.
Whether you're a defender of the 2017 game or are someone that felt ultimately disappointed by the experience for one reason or another, Yooka-Replaylee is going to be a treat for you. Every possible critique or shortcoming has been addressed, and the game is improved and iterated upon in so many more ways than I could have even predicted. The polish level of the presentation is sky high. The visuals are the most obvious, as the game is simply stunning 100% of the time. Every single character design and world has been reworked, now challenging games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart as the best-looking 3D cartoony option on the market. Laylee's purple fur looks so plush. The wear and tear around Ivory Towers is apparent. Capital B's clothes have little tears. Everything looks insanely good. The same soundtrack is back, but this time it's performed by the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra. It's a clear standout, and I already want a copy on vinyl to spin endlessly on my record player. The polish level of the presentation is sky high, causing Yooka-Replaylee to feel like a truly premium experience from start to finish. But it's not just the presentation that's been reworked. The story is now more cohesive and fun. Some specific lines from the OG game have returned, but there's a ton that's been added and changed too. The camera control has been massively improved. There are new characters. Power-ups are all unlocked from the very start of the game. Movement is as smooth as butter. The devs clearly loved this IP, and I think many more of you are going to love it now too. I know I do. I did experience infrequent but still noticeable frame drops when the on-screen action got a little hectic for my base PS5. Yooka also got stuck on a doorway or two, and I froze and had to restart once. I want to stress that these were very minor issues that didn't take away from my personal experience or enjoyment whatsoever. But this is a review after all.
5 beautiful biomes with the great hub world.
If you played the original, you will already know the 5 levels that you'll experience in Yooka-Replaylee. From the opening world of tribal stacked tropics, to the magic of glitter-glazed glacier, and the corporate greed-filled capital Casino, the gang's all here once again. On the surface, I can understand if someone was initially bummed to learn it's the same areas once again, but believe me, they are going to feel brand new to experience regardless. Yes, a lot of the general layouts will still seem familiar, but the fact that all 5 biomes look so much prettier and have so much more packed inside of them means you're going to have a fresh and new feeling playthrough here regardless. There's just something special about every single location you'll experience here. I do have my favorites. I could tell you right now that Galleon Galaxy and Capital Casino are the 2 standouts for me overall, but at the same time, all 5 levels are excellent. I also really loved that it felt like the 2 best were saved for last. Again, don't get it twisted, I loved the initial 3 biomes too. Still, capping the game off with the best content available keeps the momentum strong from start to finish. A criminally underrated part of a 3D platformer is the hub world, and Yooka-Replaylee has one of my new favorites ever. Not since Gruntilda's Lair in Banjo-Kazooie have I experienced a hub so fleshed out and filled with its own collection of secrets, activities, and challenges. Throughout the game, you're collecting pages to progress. The hub world in Yooka-Replaylee has 50 of its own pages to discover, which really drives home that these areas were thought of more as an entire additional level as opposed to a simple means of connecting World 1 to Worlds 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's just something special about every single location you'll experience here, and I can already tell you that this is a series of levels I'm planning on playing through time and time again for a long, long time.
Thousands of things to collect.
Let's talk collectibles, because that's what many of you will ultimately come to a game like Yooka-Replaylee for. You're going to have a lot to keep yourself busy with. It's not an exaggeration to say that you'll have well over 1,000 things to grab if you want to get 100% completion here. You'll feel rewarded constantly. Allow me to break it all down. You'll be able to collect 300 pages, 750 quills, 40 pagey pieces, 25 ghost riders, 5 pirate treasures, 5 Rextro tokens, 5 molecules, 104 cosmetics, and 35 tonics. Of course, a lot of these names will look like nonsense to some of you right now, but just know there's a lot. The most important are the pages, since those are your main collectibles needed to unlock more levels and ultimately challenge the final boss. Of the 300, you only actually need to grab 125 in order to beat the game and roll credits. This might still sound like a lot, but I promise it's a super manageable amount if you're someone that isn't incredibly interested in doing everything here. If you do feel overwhelmed by these collectible totals, worry not. The pages are placed everywhere with the care of a Mario Odyssey and give you a nice serotonin hit whenever you earn one. The quills are now positioned like Odyssey's purple coins, and you'll feel rewarded constantly by finding them as you explore every inch of the map. For most of your efforts, things will be located in places that either make sense once you get to them, or you'll stumble upon them naturally anyway. I've collected everything over my 20 hours with the game, aside from 2 lone pagey pieces that are keeping me from a full 100%. I'm losing sleep over them, but they will be mine someday. Replaylee hits the perfect mix of giving you a ton to do, but only if you really want to. I'm a completionist with this genre, so I got entirely sucked in. But no matter what, your experience here is going to be positive, and seeing your collectible totals go up and up feels so nice with each and every increased number.
So much room for activities.
Cool, so you're collecting little trinkets. Neat. What else does the game have for me? I'm so glad you asked, Mr. Hard to Impress. On your journey to collect pages, Yooka-Replaylee's levels give you activities and challenges out the wazoo. There are minigames, races, mazes, platforming challenges, boss fights, combat arenas, stealth missions, memory games, slot machines, golf, roulette, timed red and green coin collection challenges, first-person shooting sequences, quiz shows, isometric caverns, side-scrolling sections, crazy taxi-style drop-offs with a helicopter, item retrievals, environmental puzzles, and more. Yooka-Replaylee's levels give you activities and challenges out the wazoo. It's a staggering collection of things to do in addition to just hopping around and grabbing pages on the path of least resistance. Oh, and the transformations are back too, allowing you to be morphed into a snowplow, helicopter, school of fish in order to help you unlock everything within a given level as well. If this somehow wasn't already enough, allow me to introduce Rextro's Arcade Cabinet, which is an entire set of 8 original, retro-inspired levels to complete and earn more pages from. Playtonic heard you liked games, so they put a game within your game so that you can continue playing more games while you game. I can't help but walk away endlessly impressed at just how much is contained within Replaylee. If you're like me, you're going to track down every single pagey on your tracker map just to see everything that the game wants to show you.
Approachable, fun for everyone.
There's a lot to manage in Yooka-Replaylee on paper, and even the fact that all 9 of your special abilities are unlocked from the get-go this time around could feel additionally excessive to take in all at once. Or maybe you're a parent, and you're wondering if everything here will be too much for your kiddo to handle. I never, ever stopped having fun. But the fact is, Replaylee isn't that challenging of a game, and the lenience of only requiring 125 of the 300 total pages to roll credits proves this point as well. If you can play a standard Mario, you can manage this game too. I mean, shoot, a couple of the bosses might have some particularly tricky AoEs for the most novice of players to handle, but the only mandatory fight in the game is actually just the end boss. Aside from that, you're completely free to explore the game at your own pace, collect pages in any way that you see fit, and progress whenever you do hit the required page threshold to get to the next area. The pressure is low, and I don't expect many people will struggle to at least arrive at the end game. Of course, if you're looking for a more challenging platforming experience, maybe this is bad news. I'll admit, too, as someone that's proficient at these games, I didn't always feel like I was being asked to do anything that was particularly difficult. But at the end of the day, I never, ever stopped having fun, and that's the most important thing to keep in mind here.